So, Bradley, how do you balance this thing that we're talking about, which is creating this bandwidth, this awareness, this kind of you have this attention where you're autonomous, where you're sovereign, this power that we're tapping into. How do we balance that with also navigating the world and, the pressures that we have, economic pressure or whatever it is just to survive? And,
hmm
how do we not spend all of our time just, sitting on a couch, meditating and also going and fulfilling our purpose? Um, how did those two things balance in your mind?
Yes. Great question. So I kind of touched on it a little bit, but I think the world again, it wants it wants whatever we've got in our cup, right? And so if my cup is empty, I've got nothing to give the world. And if I do, it's kind of a weakened, diluted version. So I balance it by taking just great care of myself, man. And I'm not perfect. That balance is a constantly moving needle that I'm trying to strike. And it's great when I hit it right in the head, but most of the time I'm a little left, I'm a little right. I'm okay with that. Um, so that comes back to fundamentals to me, like time and silence every day. Just that's time to process things. Essentially, the game for me is we are consuming all the time. And so then we're processing it. We're processing it mentally, physically, emotionally, all of these levels. So we have to actually spend time processing our experiences instead of continually consuming experience. So as we do that, we start to get better at that. So that's which is what fasting is, right? You stop consuming and you start processing, integrating whatever physical stuff. But fasting doesn't just have to be from food. Sometimes we're consuming too much on our phone. I need to fast from my phone and just, you know, not be consuming things on my phone. I need to fast from people. I'm spending
Okay.
way too much time with people and I'm losing myself. I need to fast from people for some time. I need to maybe go on a little retreat. So yeah, that happens from gross to subtle too. So what I find in my own journey, and I've seen a lot of people, is that they'll go big off the rip, say, okay, I just need a retreat from people. Okay, they're going to go and sit in silence for 10 days and do this thing. And they'll do this gross, dramatic change, which is maybe what they need. But at some point, it
Is it
comes down to
sustainable?
the day becomes the unit. The day
Yeah.
becomes the basic unit. And how do I navigate the 24-hour diurnal period? What does that look like? Because so yeah, there's periods of integration and periods of consumption. And so for me, a lot of my integration is coming in the morning time, first thing, and in the evening time. And then the world gets a lot of the day throughout little moments, like you said, you're at the DMV, you're meditating, you're doing the nervous system reset or doing your mantra. There's always moments throughout the day to come back to that. But yeah, morning time is for me, evening time is for me. And that's kind of how I balance it during the day, man, and just take it day by day. Because if how patterns can get out of hand. You're consuming too much of this, consuming too much of your friends, consuming too much food. That starts to build a pattern up, and all of a sudden you've gained 10 pounds or you've gained 15 pounds, or you can't get your mind to shut up, because you have too many things on your plate. Uh, that can manifest in many different ways. But if we can have a solid morning and a solid evening, for me, that has worked well to start and
Okay.
end the day.
And you do what type of meditation would you say?
Um, I think it's a lot of metta meditation along with Vipassana, kind of a mixture of those. So Vipassana being sensory based, just developing objectivity with whatever's happening within my body. And then metta would just be like loving kindness. So just giving myself loving kindness, giving those I care about loving kindness, giving the world loving kindness, just kind of radiating that within and without. And That's pretty much our practice, and that's about 2 hours a day. So it's to do about a morning, an hour in the morning, and then an hour in the evening. And so it's a big commitment, seemingly, but I find because of this, it saves me on at least an hour of sleep. I mean, I'm sleeping, I'm waking up naturally, probably around 5:30, um, and going to sleep maybe around like 11, sometimes midnight, but I only need probably 5 to 6 hours of sleep, and I wake up without an alarm. I wake up feeling refreshed. Um, so, and that's something that's a relatively new thing for me. I needed more sleep before and after this fast. Some things clicked, some things shifted for me, and just kind of been on a tear. But I'm noticing I'm not needing as much sleep and being totally fine with that. And when I need sleep throughout the day, I can take a nap. I'm fortunate in that I've structured my life. I'm self-employed. I work on my own schedule. I have free time to work on independent projects and schedule projects for other people as well. So, but that has come over time, you know.
Okay.
This is a journey of 13, 14 years that I've come into this. So it
Hmm.
hasn't always been a smooth road, and it's not always
Yeah.
smooth even now, but I
And
have the tools to handle things.
to the listener, right? It doesn't mean you're going to do an hour in the morning and an hour at night.
No, no.
It's everyone finds their can find their own version of this balance thing that we're talking about, right?
Nor should you aspire to it, right? That is just my path. And maybe I need that because I'm fucked up and I've got more things I need to deal with. So I need 2 hours. It's just that's
Yeah.
one way of looking at it. Um, but if you're just starting on this type of path, I think a lot of you, if they are just starting, they're probably gathering information, trying different things, seeing what might work. Um, but
Hmm.
Yeah, I just can't imagine a situation where for anyone it can't be helpful to just sit and be without any agenda, just observe your mind, observe your body,
Yes.
close your eyes, even if you lie down,
Now,
allow thoughts and things to come up. That is your body and mind processing experience.
now, when people hear you say that, immediately people have this visceral reaction of actually like, oh, that actually sounds like the worst possible thing that I could do is just sit with total nothingness. So
Right.
give me the what's the reward? Like when I was learning about transcendental meditation, the TM people were pitching me and saying, "Hey, you're gonna feel like this, like you're gonna tap into this ocean of energy and divine power, and you're gonna tap into that." What's the what's the reward for people that decide to go through this uncomfortable experience? And how would you describe the feeling you get when you start to um, integrate this meditation?
Well, I think the best way I can say it, because, going down any type of path like this, people might be lured by an experience like that, like a divine peace or the spiritual fireworks, so to speak, like some bliss that you're going to experience. But even that's temporary. That's not something we can rely on to be there. But I think something we can cultivate that can help us all the time is just a general contentedness with what is happening. You are out of control of your life. You cannot control the challenges and vicissitudes that will come your way. But if we develop a sense of poise and just general okayness to what it is, then we have a lot more bandwidth to handle whatever it is in front of us. But if we are reacting and trying to push whatever it is away that's happening to us, not accepting reality as it is, say some challenge at work happens, some your boss is putting these demands on you, and or anything, the first step is just you accept it. This is what it is.
Yes.
You're not going to move forward in an efficient manner, in a harmonious manner, if you're first denying that it even exists, or questioning why it exists. The fact is it's happening. Okay, so you can deal
Yeah.
with it from that point of view. And so that's what all of these tools are, is just giving me a general contentedness to handle what comes my way. And that is invaluable because you will be hit with challenges. Like no one can avoid challenges in their life. We're here to grow, and that's how we grow is out of our comfort zone. So this okayness, this contentedness gives you a deeper sense of comfort even when you are mired in discomfort. It's like a
Wow.
behind the scenes comfort, even though your stage character, Dave and Bradley, might be experiencing the discomfort on stage, like behind the scenes, oh, okay, this is what's happening. This is fine, you know. This
Okay. Wow. I've found the same thing, and I always described it as resistance. Like my resistance just goes down and down and down. Where previously I would be hit with something, I would immediately just resist. And the more bandwidth I
right,
get from meditation, is really where it comes from, is just yeah, immediately dealing with something, processing it with little to no resistance,
right.
and
Exactly. And to cover your question earlier, like, well, someone hears this and like, okay, what's the point? I'm just going to sit here and do nothing. Like, that's got to be the most inefficient thing to do, right? But let me say this, if your nervous system is in a state where you are just reactive and you're not aware of what's going on, the decisions you're making are inefficient, they're out of harmony. They're probably not going to get fixed in your first decision. You're going to have to deal with that pattern again and again. But when we calm our nervous system down, allow what we need to process through, give us that bandwidth, give us that space, we make decisions from a responsive place, not
yes,
a reactive place. So
yes,
our decisions are so much more efficient, or efficient rather.
yes.
We slow down. And another view is time. Think of time. Time is totally subjective. Everyone's had the experience where they thought only 5 minutes had passed, but it was actually an hour. You were playing, you were in your zone, or when you're absolutely bored out of your mind, waiting for the clock to strike the hour, and it's going slower than ever, right? Totally subjective.
Yes,
When we slow down, we actually have more time. Time slows down, giving us more out of our experience, right?
totally.
So
Yes,
we hear the old folks saying, "Oh, it's just time's gonna fly. Time's gonna fly." And in some respects that does, but a lot of times when people say that, that's because their nervous system is so tense and so tight. They have not been processing their experience adequately. They're just accumulating and consuming experience. So it keeps speeding up for them, right? But it doesn't have to be that way. That doesn't have to be the norm. We can enjoy our life and wow, today was full. You know, our days can be full and rewarding. And it just starts with small steps wherever you are. It doesn't matter where you are. It'll take a little discipline, maybe a little willpower, but you just be honest with yourself and be gentle with yourself. That's so key, especially for a lot of men in this culture. They want results here, they want it now, they want it done. Like, and when that doesn't happen, they think they are the problem. It's their fault. And so they kick their own ass. I've seen it time and time again, even within myself. And I've had to learn, like, yo, I've got to be gentle with myself for real. I am my toughest critic. There's nothing you could say to me that I have not looked over under a microscope 1,000 times. But I have to be gentle with myself and
Mm.
remind myself of that because it's just not worth it. It doesn't lead anywhere, you know?
Wow. Yes, and I totally agree. You don't meditating does not cost you time. By meditating, you can control time. I mean, and more so than you could before. You can create time. And time becomes elastic, um and these are uh things that the listeners, you should think about, is creating this in your life. So as we wrap up here, talking with Bradley Lovell,